Train Lover 1974 presents Edward's Old Memories. It was a busy day down at Brendam Docks. Trains were being shunted, ships were being loaded. It was a very busy day. Thomas then noticed Edward on his siding, filling up on water. He seemed sad. So Thomas decided to ask, "Edward, what's wrong? You're usually always so happy when you're down at the docks." "Oh, it's just an old memory I remembered back during the First World War. Including this one day brings up old memories." "What's so important about today, Edward?" "Thomas, today's Memorial Day." "Oh yeah, Memorial Day, that's right. Today's the day we commemorate all the people who lost their lives during the wars." "Exactly. And it's just an old memory came back to me back during the First World War about an old friend of mine." "Really?" "Yes. Would you like to hear it?" "Ahoy, me hearty, I would like to hear it too. I love to hear a good story." What the heck, I got nothing better to do." "Okay then, I will tell you the story." And this was the story Edward told. This story takes place back during before the First World War. I was in a different Liberty then. I was actually still in my blue Liberty, but I had furnace on my side on the sides of my tenders, including I worked with many different engines back then. But there was one engine I was particularly close with. Her name was Jamie. Jamie was a similar class to me. She was a K2 like me, except she was an older design, and it was an experimental, a prototype. But she was very strong and very fast. She didn't even mind pulling goods trains. Me and her were the good friends. And I couldn't have asked for a better sister. We had a great life together, but that all came to an end when World War I broke out. It was a very early morning when we all heard about a shooting about French Duke Ferdinand over near Europe. We heard he was shot, and then war broken out over Europe. The Austrian Empire fought against Serbia, but Serbia was protected by Russia, and then Germany then declared war on Russia, and so did France on Germany. Then after Germany tried to invade Belgium, then the Great Britain got involved with the war. The engine said was we should have never gotten involved, saying this is a very dangerous situation. But me and Julia had hope, and hoped this war would end very quickly. But little did we know we were wrong. Air raids would come multiple times during the night. We could hear bombs raiding over London, including many other towns and cities. Me and Julia, though, no, Jamie, sorry about that, was that we usually talked during this time. We usually talked about the old days before the war, and remembered all the good times. We usually talked with some of the other engines, too, about their old days before the war, where they used to work, and how they got on this railway. One night, though, in particular, I was asked to take a passenger train to Sodor. It was a very important one. It was an evacuation train. Just as I was departing, though, my safety valve burst. Pfft, ouch! I couldn't move, and I couldn't pull the train either. A tank engine came and pushed me back into the shed. The manager was not too happy about this. "We'll need another engine." "I'll gladly take it, sir. I should be back before the morning." "All right then, Julia. Jamie, please be careful." Why does everybody keep getting my name mixed up? Well, because your name is so hard to remember. Jamie, promise me you'll be careful. "Of course I will, Edward. I'm always careful when I pull my trains." Little did I know that would be the last thing I would ever say to my sister. It was midnight when my sister arrived at the station. It was a very important train, and Jamie was not going to be delayed. Come on. We cannot be delayed." The guard blew his whistle. And Jamie set off into the night. I actually saw her one last time. She rushed past our shed pulling the express to get to the soda in time. I didn't know that would be the last time I saw her, or else if I had enough steam I would have whistled to her. But it was far too late. The bridge that led onto Sodor looked very different back in the old days. It wasn't a drawbridge or rolling bridge. It was just an ordinary bridge that had special arches underneath it to let ships pass under it. But then an incident happened. An air raid was about to happen. Planes were flying overhead, ready to attack Baron Furness. They saw the bridge and then bombed it. The bridge had collapsed, except for one half of the bridge. The bridge was now destroyed. A ship that was sitting nearby quickly went to raise the alarm, but he would never reach the docks in time. Jamie entered onto the bridge. Just as she saw it, she immediately hit her brakes, but it was too late. The engines were in complete shock. Even Cranky was. Thomas felt upset. What happened to her after that? It turned out she was killed on impact when she hit the water, including the remains of the bridge. And what was more sad was only 5 passengers and only 1 crew member survived that night on that train. Morning had arrived around that time. I was preparing for my morning passenger train. I noticed Jamie hadn't returned. I assumed that she was busy and had to take another train if she stayed on Soto for the night. I did hear air raid sirens in the distance when a tank engine rushed by the sheds, pushing a breakdown train. I suddenly had a dark feeling that something wasn't right, that something was wrong. And, oh boy, was I right. When the tank engine arrived at the bridge, there was nothing really left of the train itself. People were sitting on the hillside, scared and traumatized. The train had completely been destroyed. Nothing was really left except for the remains of the coaches, a tender, and what was left of the engine. The tank engine said he was going to be sick after he saw the remains of the engine. And unfortunately, I was the one who had to take her away for scrap. That's horrible, Edward. Yar me, matey, it is. What happened after that? I felt partially guilty for it, thinking that I should have been one who took the train. If I hadn't burst my safety valve, Jamie would probably still be here. But I eventually shrugged it off, because I realized it couldn't have been my fault. How was I supposed to know whether an air raid was about to happen? Exactly, Edward. But I do wish I could have known, so this way I could have warned her. Or I wish that ship would have arrived sooner, so this way she could have warned the train to stop. A few weeks after that, turned out I was actually being sold to Sodor around that time. The bridge had been mended, and I was being sold back to Sodor, before I met you, Thomas. Yes, and then over 100, almost a century later, here we are. Wow. That was an amazing story. Yar me, matey. I couldn't even come up with a good story like that. Wow, I can't believe it. The first time Salty admits he can't come up with a story like that. Pipe down, Cranky. Do you think she's up in a better place, Edward? I know she's up in a better place. She was a good engine. Plus, she was only wanting to do what was right. But I do sort of thank her. If it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't even be here right now. Strange how things occurred, isn't it? Indeed, Edward. Indeed, me hearty. Now, Thomas, if you'll please excuse me, I do need to get my train after all. Oh, sorry, Edward. Goodbye, Edward. Goodbye, Thomas. Goodbye, Salty. I'll see you all later. Alright, Edward. We can get off now. Alright, driver. See you all later. It's nice to see you're still doing okay, old Edward. Or Eddie. And thanks to you, I can finally move on. Happy Memorial Day to anybody, and also may the people who lost their lives during war rest in peace.